it's noisy here, that means that a lot of people are using the sportsplex. This is why we built it. So I'm going to open up with, today is a sad day in the Hammond Police Department. We lost one of our officers to COVID. So if you don't mind, I'm going to start off and read a bio in regards to Sergeant Thomas Sawyer, badge number 448, followed by a moment of silence, and then we'll bring up the host councilman. Sergeant Thomas E. Sawyer, badge number 448, was hired by the Hammond Police Department on December 18, 1997, and was promoted to sergeant in the year 2012. During his tenure with the Hammond Police Department, Tom served in the Patrol Division, Front Desk Sergeant, and a Field Training Officer. He was assigned to the Community Affairs Division as part of the Neighborhood Response Team, and the Criminal Investigations Division as a detective. For 12 years, Tom has performed his duties in the Hammond Police Jail. Tom received the Purple Heart Award from the Hammond Police Department after sustaining serious bodily injury while apprehending a mentally ill subject on the street. Sergeant Sawyer was a sergeant also in the United States Air Force. He served in security forces. He assisted when called out to Hurricane Katrina. He was stationed in Korea and in Germany and completed 3 tours to Iraq and Kuwait. Sergeant Sawyer was described by his fellow officers as a man of faith who loved and adored his wife, his children, and was excited about the possibility of retirement and moving on to the next chapter in his life. Sergeant Sawyer was always willing to help where needed. Tom was a man of strong religious faith. He loved his job and he loved his country. The loss to the Hammond Police Department feels is great. The gratitude owed to Tom for his services here and abroad is huge. He will forever hold a special place in our hearts and will truly be missed. Sergeant Thomas E. Sawyer is survived by his wife and his 2 children. If you please bear with me so we can give Sergeant Thomas E. Sawyer, badge number 448, a moment of silence. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Hammond's 3rd District City Councilman, host councilman for tonight's event, Barry Tyler. Barry?
Good evening, everyone. I'll keep it brief. I just want to say thank you for coming out tonight. Really excited about this Mayor's Night Out. There's a lot going on across the city. There's a lot going on in the 3rd District, a lot for us to be proud of. So excited about the turnout tonight. Hopefully a lot of people are watching online so that you can keep up to date with everything that we have going on. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for people to be involved with what the city is having this summer. So want to make sure that people, of course, like still being smart with the pandemic, with COVID-19, taking care of yourself, protecting your family, but really want to start getting back outside and connecting with your neighbors and really seeing everything that Hammond has to offer. Upcoming with the Festival of the Lakes. We had a great Juneteenth celebration this past weekend, so thank you everybody who came out to that. So yeah, if you please follow Go Hammond. You can follow my council page on Facebook as well. We post a lot of updates about the things that are going on in the city. So thank you, Mayor, for of course starting this 16 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, however long you've been mayor. It's great to get people together and share these updates and really hear directly from residents in terms of the concerns and different things that are going on. So thanks again for viewing, thanks again for attending, and excited to dive into the conversation tonight. Thanks.
"30 years ago? Seriously?" We have done this for a while, though. I appreciate you, Councilman. I want to get started with a special presentation, if you don't mind. We usually save our special presentations for Mayor's Night Out. Today's a really special occasion for one of my employees, department head. So Ron Novak, will you please come to the podium? Please. Hi, Ron Novak. Yeah, hi, Ron Novak. Ron knows, he works in the Hammond Department of Environmental Management. He's been doing this for 50 years for the city of Hammond. He celebrates it this year, actually in June. So let's give Ron a big round of applause. I have a lot of respect for him. You know, institutional knowledge is huge, and we've always been blessed in this administration to have people who've been around and have seen things. because that's super important for a 34-year-old mayor when I first take over, and it's super important for a 52-year-old mayor to this day. Having a guy like Ron around makes me feel good when we make tough decisions. So I want to thank you, Ron, for 50 great years to the city of Hammond. I'm 52 years old, so I really appreciate Ron's basically been working for the city my whole life, which is nice, right? Appreciate that. Ron, we have a key to the city here. I'm not sure if you've ever received one. I hope not, but this is a nice one. We made sure this is really nice. So this key to the city is hereby presented to Ronald L. Novak. I can't read that. Yeah, L. Novak. It takes a person with strong character and willpower to stay committed and loyal at their jobs for so many years. Thank you for 50 amazing years of dedicated service to the residents of the city of Hammond. 1971 to 2021, presented this 23rd day of June in 2021, Hammond Mayor Thomas M. McDermott Jr. Let's give Ron a big round of applause, everybody.
Thank you. Seen a lot of administrations come and go. What I've seen in this city has been each administration building on the next. And our current mayor, Thomas M. McDermott, built on his dad's legacy and has put the pedal to the metal in regards to moving this city forward. It's good to see that with economic development, there can be environmental protection. And there's a statement out there that says, if you come to work each day and you have a smile on your face, the day passes real quick, and at the end of the 2-week period, you get paid doing it. I love what I do. I love to protect this city, and I enjoy all the calls that come in that have problems that we try to solve on a local, state, and federal level. But the city is blessed to have a mayor that we have currently looking out for the citizens from all vantage points. So I appreciate all of your praise, all of your concern. I love this job, and it's just a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I hardly doubt in 50 years that's his first key to the city. Probably like his 5th or 6th, because he's done amazing things over the years. But thank you again, Ron. Hammond Department of Environmental Management is the department you call for, obviously, for smells, for noises. That's one of the things, smoke. Ron, of course, anything, unfortunately, in some parts of our city, we have lead issues. But Ron's the department that is the liaison between us and IDEM or US EPA. And it's good to have a guy like Ron around helping you out. So thanks again, Ron. 50 great years. Congratulations. All right. Next, before I get started, I'd like to thank the Sportsplex staff, Kim Roberts, Jim Talon of the Hammond Parks Department, and the rest of the staff at the Sportsplex for making it available. Thank you very much, Kim. Beautiful facility. And I'd like to recognize the elected officials, and then we'll introduce my staff here. Next, first off, I want to thank the North Township trustee, Adrian Santos. Thank you for being here, Trustee Santos. Hammond's very own Lake County Councilman, David Ham. Good to see you, Councilman. Councilwoman at Large, Janet Venez. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Councilman at Large, Dan Spitali. Thank you very much, Councilman. Hammond's 3rd District Councilman, our host Councilman, Barry Tyler. Hammond's 6th District Councilman, that's Hessville, for those of you. It's Scott Rakos, thank you very much. Last but not least, Hammond's Council President, David Warple. Thank you very much, Councilman. Hi Sharon, how's it going?
Good evening, Mayor.
Good, so we got Sharon and we got Donna out in the audience to remind you all about how Mayor's Night Out works. We have written questions in the back. You fill out a written question. You can leave it blank. You don't have to put your address or anything. We like to have your address so we can follow it up with you if it needs to be followed up. But if you want to do an anonymous complaint, no problem. When we run out of written questions, we sort of end the show. But anyway, if we're talking about, let's say, the Sportsplex, and you have a follow-up question about the Sportsplex, raise your hand. Donna or Sharon will come up with the microphone, and they'll put it right in your face, like this. And they're not being rude. They're doing that because we're on Go Hammond TV. And nobody can hear you unless the microphone's in your face. So please wait till we get the microphone, because we have a couple hundred people that watch Mayor's Night Out live as well. But thank you for the people that came out for the live event. It's good to see people's faces again. So anyway, why don't we go ahead and introduce our staff. How you doing, Sharon?
Good evening. Sharon Daniels, Personnel and College Bound.
Jeff Smith, Fire Department.
Jack Smith, Sewer Maintenance.
Carmen Paniagua, Housing Authority.
Nicholas Farrell, Code Enforcement Commissioner.
Chris Sacaleras, Legal Aid Clinic.
Marty Wilgus, Hammond Sanitary District. Matt Buda, Hammond Sanitary District. Tom Novak, City Planning.
Bob Vale, Building Department.
Mylan Krasinski, Port Authority.
Ann Anderson, Economic Development.
Kevin Smith, Corporation Counsel.
Phil Talon, Chief of Staff.
Dean Button, Engineering.
Ron Novak, Environmental.
Andrea Edwards, Zoning.
Jaime Prieto, Water. Kelly Kearney, Inspection.
Timothy Willis, Public Works.
Africa's Harbor Planning and Development.
Megan Flores, City Controller.
Jim Talon, Park Department.
Chris Campbell, Information Technology.
Lavita Sparks Wade, United Neighborhoods Incorporated.
Owana Miller, Community Development.
Donna Muda, Special Events, Hammond Parks and Recreation.
There you go. We have a lot of people here. If I get asked any tough questions, I got the department heads here to answer your questions directly. I'd like to start off with a little commercial about current job openings that we have right now. For the Festival of the Lakes that's coming up, we pay a good wage. If you're a bartender and things like that, you can make good tips. So if you're watching here or you're watching at home, Festival of the Lakes is currently hiring parking lot attendants, parking cashiers, and bartenders. For more information about this, visit gohammond.com or visit Personnel in City Hall or the Hammond Civic Center to apply. Or if you're here, visit Sharon Daniels right there. She's hiring. So if you're interested in working during the Festival of the Lakes, we're paying a good wage. It's one of the nice things about coming out of the pandemic is manpower costs have gone up, which is beneficial for you. So we are paying a competitive wage. It's going to be packed and fun. So if you're interested in making a couple bucks over the summer, see Sharon, and we'll line you up. So anyway, how we doing on questions, Donna?
We're going to be busy, Mayor. We have quite a few. Ready
Good.
to go?
Let's get on it.
2 questions for the church at the corner of Morris and Howard. It's been an eyesore since it collapsed 2 years ago. I think it was called Memorial Church.
Where?
When is that going to be cleaned up and removed?
Kelly, how you doing? This is Kelly Kearney, who's the head of Inspections Department. Usually I'm pretty good when you name off a building in the city. Usually I can pull it up in my head. I'm at a loss on this one. I can't picture it in my brain.
1108 Morris.
You know this one.
Very well.
See, I can't do it, but I know this is their every single day job. Kelly knows it right off the top of his head. So what's the status of this, Kelly?
The pastor that was in charge that owns the church acted very quickly when it collapsed. Roof caved in, walls caved in. He did everything we asked as far as making it safe, put fence around. Pardon me?
I'm having trouble. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He acted very quickly in securing the site. He was trying to raise some funds to rebuild or ultimately remove. We gave him plenty of opportunity. COVID didn't help. He got sick. So we sort of worked with him. We're to the point now where we actually have 2 bids out that we're kind of trying to figure out exactly who's going to win this bid. One had some asterisks on their bid, and we're going to hammer that out between the demo contractors, and then we'll be picking it up, cleaning it up.
I don't know if the person that has the question wants to follow up and ask Kelly some follow-up question. Sure, Kevin. This is Kevin Smith. He's corporate counsel for the city of Hammond. Has a lot to do with demolitions across the city.
So this property was also in front of the Board of Public Works and Safety. I think about 4 weeks ago, Councilman Tyler was present because he's had some conversations with the pastor as well. He was from Houston, as I think Kelly mentioned, and what we did at the last Board of Public Works and Safety meeting where this was in front of it was we coordinated JM Wrecking, who was the winning bidder of the demolition, with the church so that they could remove some personal property, I think like the organ, if I'm not mistaken, Councilman Tyler, and some other matters. And then I believe we're ready to go with demolition. We were one of the reasons for the delay was that originally we thought there might have been an insurance claim that would take care of the demolition, and that way the city wouldn't have to demolish. And then secondly, they were trying to raise funds. We gave them a little bit of extra time, more probably than we usually would, because it was a church. But I think now we're ready, and everybody's ready to see it demolished. I don't know if Barry's got anything additional,
Councilman,
but
you want to jump in? You good?
Yeah, there's not much, thanks Kevin and Kelly, there's not much else to share, but I know a lot of residents are worried about safety of the church, especially over the summer, but I know Kelly has worked with the pastor, and the pastor actually came up and spoke at one of the Board of Works meetings. It had to be late last year sometime, I believe, maybe a couple months after the church originally collapsed. And he's actually the one that paid for the fence that's around the property to be up now too. So we are aware of it, of course. I live right down the street from it, so I see it almost every single day. But like Kevin said, we really were trying to work with the family to figure out what was their intention, instead of the city kind of stepping in and just tearing down a church that has been in their family for, I want to say like close to 50 years maybe. And so, yeah, it is something that Kevin said, we're working with them now to get a couple items out of there before they do move forward with the demolition, but hopefully it's something that will be cleaned up this summer.
Thanks, Barry. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Oh, we had a follow-up?
Yes, I'd like to thank you for the affirmative action on that church. There are a lot of children that play around there. I own a house there on Morris Street, and it's really an eyesore for the community. I mean, I've been in this county 70 years since I was born, and remember going to Hammond when I was a little kid, going to Paramount and Parthenon theaters and having fun. I'm an ex-Hammond, Gary, East Chicago, Maryville school teacher.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm always proactive about helping the children, and I appreciate you being proactive here.
Thank you, sir. It's a little tougher when it's concerning a church. I'm sure you can understand that, but at a certain point, you got to draw the line. And it sounds like they're all over this, sir. So thank you for the question. Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Sorry, just one more thing. The family is planning to rebuild on that site, so I know that they are going to work with Brian Poland to figure out some of the zoning issues that have changed since the church was originally built. I think the church was well over 100 years old, so there's going to have to be some updates if they do want to rebuild, but they do plan on keeping that location and restarting the church hopefully sometime soon in the future too. Just wanted to share that.
Thanks, Barry. All right, let's go ahead and move on, Donna.
Okay, Mayor, about the parking here at the Sportsplex. If tonight's parking is any indication of no parking available, what's going to happen when the YMCA is built?
Thank you. Integral part of the new YMCA proposal is a massive expansion of parking in this entire area. Okay, massive expansion of parking. There's one of the things. There's going to be parking in areas right now that you can't imagine. We're going to go further down 67th here. We're going to go further down 167th. We're going to create more parking over on the other side of what will eventually be the Y, and we're going to better utilize the parking lot over here where North Shore Health is as well. So it's a big part of the master plan for the new Y is a new parking layout. So believe me, we're dealing with that issue already. But make no bones about it, it's a great gift that Dean and Barbara White Foundation has given to the city. It's a $45 million project. The city of Hammond is going to participate to the tune of $10 million. We're going to raise another $10 million, and the Dean and Barbara White Foundation is going to give $25 million to the city of Hammond. So this Y is transformational for this area. You're going to see, fast forward 10 years in this area, and you're going to see a massive change in this entire area because of what's coming. It's a people generator. So and we're building it right in Hammond's 3rd District, which is wonderful. So I'm excited about it. Any follow-up questions on the Y? Obviously, more details will be forthcoming. This is still a project that's, Phil, could you grab a microphone? This is Chief of Staff Phil Talon. This project is still a couple to a few years out. Their timeline is not as quick as I prefer personally, but
Yeah, I think the latest is they want to start construction in the spring of 2022, and they believe it's going to be an 18-month construction cycle, so it really won't be open and operating until sometime in 2023. But it was a great question, whoever asked it. Parking is being evaluated, and we're going to make sure that there's enough parking for all the different organizations and businesses that are going to be part of this development in the future.
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
When you think about the problem when I took over as mayor was we had plenty of parking and we didn't have any use for the parking, so nobody came here. Now the problem is too much parking, and that's a good problem to have in my opinion. I mean, excuse me, too much traffic, and that's a good problem to have. So I promise you we'll work on the parking issue. The Dean and Barbara White Foundation wouldn't be investing $25 million into a facility that didn't have adequate parking. So I promise you we're working on that. Dean, you want to address that at all? Or I know you're part of it from the city engineering standpoint.
Yeah, so we are engaging a firm in traffic study and parking study for the area. It's very preliminary at this time, Mayor, but we are mindful of what needs to be done in the area and got some preliminary ideas on that already.
Thank you, sir. All right. Any follow-ups to that? Yes, sir. How you doing? Hold on 2 seconds. So, man, it's loud in here, isn't it? Loud is good, I guess, except for when you're having...
I'm curious,
Yes, sir.
what is going to happen to the existing YMCA?
Great question. That's a question we're asking. Right now, the Y is planning on having both locations. And one of them would be, the one that's current Y, would be more geared towards after-school, summer camps and things like that. And the newer Y would be geared more towards traditional, like people that are working out, sports. They would also have sports leagues like we do here at Sportsplex. But right now, the plan is to keep both open. If that plan changes, the city would be we would be intimately involved in what the future would be. I'm sure they wouldn't want to see, Planet Hollywood or something like that opening up there. Not Planet Hollywood. What's the one? Planet Fitness, excuse me. Planet Hollywood's in Vegas. They wouldn't want to see a Planet Fitness like a competitor open up there, but we have talked about if it's not going to be a Y anymore, what the future would look like there. So believe me, we're dealing with that as well. Great question, though. Thank you, sir. Hi.
Hi, Mayor. I asked that question about the parking. I had tried to go to Subway one day when there was activity here at the Sportsplex. I had to leave. I could not find a place to park, and that was just with the activity here at the Sportsplex. So considering having a multi-million-dollar facility here and having more traffic, and you're saying possibly using North Shore's part of that parking lot and other...
And creating more parking. There would be more parking created as well. Believe me, I agree with you, but traffic is a good thing. When I became your mayor, we had no traffic here. And people were like, what are you going to do? Now we're generating too much traffic and we're going to deal with it. But I appreciate the question. Any other questions? All right, let's move on.
Mayor, fireworks control, what is your plan?
I don't have a plan. This is a state law that's ill thought out. We sell millions of dollars worth of fireworks. I personally can't stand them. And if we sold, when you sell millions of dollars of fireworks and you say you can only blow these off on certain days, this is a perpetual problem. Our cops would be running around constantly chasing people blowing off firecrackers. It's something that I wish we could regulate locally. Like, if Hammond had the ability to say, we don't want to sell fireworks in Hammond. We want to make them illegal in Hammond. I wish we had that ability, because I would do it. I don't know how the will of the council, but I know how I feel about this. I think they're dangerous. I think they're loud. They're a nuisance. They're dirty. They're dangerous. I hate them. However, when I hear them going off illegally, am I going to call up the chief of police and say, drop everything, somebody's blowing off a firework? No, I'm not. This is something that needs to be taken up with Governor Holcomb in the General Assembly. I hate them. I wish we had the ability to regulate them. We don't. We don't. So I take the complaints. I sympathize with the complaints. I wish we could do something about it. Hi, Carl. How you doing, sir?
Good, sir. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah.
Fellow Navy man.
Exactly.
I'm a disabled veteran. I have a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress.
I know, sir.
I don't mind the little, sparkly ones, the things that go. It's those things that really come close to an 81 millimeter mortar attack that put me on edge. And
I know, Carl.
will the city pick up an ambulance tab for me if I have
What's
to?
that?
Will the city pick up the ambulance tab for me if I have to be hospitalized on this?
I know.
Or?
Listen, I
It's
sympathize with
ridiculous.
you, but these are questions they didn't ask us when they legalized fireworks. They didn't care what the local cities had to think. They say, okay, only shoot them off on certain days, and they sell $100 million worth of fireworks, and they're like, what? You're blowing it off on a day you're not supposed to? Of course they are. You sell hundreds of millions of dollars worth of fireworks, they're going to blow them off as soon as they get them. It's like, I don't know. It's very frustrating. But I made it clear how I feel about it. Where's Andy? Is Andy? By the way, you'll notice that my stage is devoid of police officers. Obviously, they're dealing with, what's going on. Captain, how you doing? But lucky for me, I have Captain Calvin here, Captain Calvin Alcox, Hammond Community Affairs. His job is to go into the public and deal with tough issues like fireworks. Help me out here, Captain.
That problem is citywide, and like he said, it's so common. They're going off all over the city, and there's no way that we can handle them all. It's the volume of calls. We wouldn't be able to do anything else, and it's a lot harder to find fireworks than people think it is. People think that we can just sit there and just pick them out, but I've tried doing that. When they shoot fireworks in the air, we don't know exactly where they're coming from, and we go looking for them, and most of the time we don't find them. They usually don't shoot them off right in front of us, and it's just an ongoing thing. It's been going on for years, and I don't imagine it's ever going to stop until they do change the laws, like he said.
Thank you, Calvin. I used to shoot off fireworks every year on the 4th of July, okay? And I used to have like a neighborhood fireworks display. And I'd go out there with my friends, all my neighbors would come out, and we'd light them off, and these things would go off, and they're big mortars, and they boom, super powerful, big explosions in the air. And then one year, it was down in DeMott. A gentleman was doing the same thing I was doing, lighting off the same candles I was lighting off, and he lit one off, and it was a dud. It just fizzled. And he's like, the whole family's waiting for it to blow off, and he's like, what's the matter with my firework? And he put his head right over it, and it blew his head off right in front of his whole family. And I was like, done with fireworks. It was the same ones I was shooting off that very night. I was done. How could a state make this legal? It's beyond me. Why people like me are allowed to shoot off huge explosives like that. And I want to point out that I know there's a lot of fireworks stores in the city of Hammond. It makes sense because they put the fireworks stores here so that the people from Illinois come over and buy them, and they go back home and they shoot them off illegally also, okay? However, I'd like to remind everybody, the city of Hammond doesn't make a single penny on any fireworks sale, and we never have. Not a single penny. We don't get sales tax from them. All we get is the property tax from the building. That's it. So there's no benefit for us at all. In fact, if anything, it's a huge, litter issue. Public Works, who's up here today from Public Works? Gary's back there. Gary, grab a microphone, please. He's in the back there. Gary always tries to hide from me in the audience, and it never works. Hi, Gary, how you doing?
Good, Mayor.
Could you help me with this? Talk to me about garbage collection on the 5th of July.
It's mainly sweeping. They'll take those fireworks, go into a church parking lot, the city parks, anywhere they can, and that's where they light them up, and unfortunately, they don't clean them. So the day after is when we run the sweepers like crazy, and the mess, and it's out there now. I've already seen it this week where they're using them in lots and just leaving them.
So what about, I know a lot of people shove that stuff, like the huge burned out cardboard stuff that goes into the garbage, right?
Yep, you'll see right next to their can, you'll see boxes of fireworks. I mean, thousands of dollars worth. It just, and it's been going off a lot earlier than it's supposed to. So you can see it now.
But what people don't realize is that doesn't magically disappear. We have to pay for all the carcasses to go into a landfill because that's not recyclable. It's got gunpowder all over it. So all the boxes, all the stuff that's left over, the city of Hammond has to pay to put it into a landfill. It's dirty, it costs us money, we don't make a penny from the sales, and then you have the added gift of the Hammond Fire Department. Is the 4th of July a busy time for the Hammond Fire Department?
Very busy. Guarantee we'll have 5 or 6 garbage can fires and a couple garage fires because the garbage cans are usually right next to the garage. I mean, that's our biggest thing is garbage can fires in the park. Then they unload them in the park, the garbage cans in the park. So yeah, that's one of our problems. And you're right, we make no money off it at all. The state fire marshal's office is the one that makes money off of it downstate. And unfortunately, they were in town today and they inspected all the fireworks stores and they all passed. So, you know, Mayor, the other thing, gentleman said about the parks, and it is, you know, a waste of resources to have to call 911 for the police department to respond. They have more important things to do, but it is, you're allowed to do them on your property only.
Right.
Not a park,
Right.
not a parking lot, not in the alley.
Right.
You know, so unfortunately, everybody goes, I mean, I live right by the park up in Robertsdale, and I see it every year, and it's
Right.
like, so, you know, we just try to stress, you know, have a bucket of water, have a garden hose by, and don't throw them in your garbage then. Wait till the next day, water them down, because we're guaranteed we're going to have garbage can fires and garage fires.
Gotcha. So if you're working on the 4th of July and you're a Hammond firefighter, you get to sleep much that night?
No, not at all.
Nobody, none of them.
Actually-
Across the city, all of them are busy all night.
Yeah, I mean, it's been nonstop for the last few weeks.
Oh, it's going right now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I know the police department's not here other than Captain Calvin. That's the night everybody decides that they could magically shoot bullets into the air also, and these bullets don't come down, right? So we have the added pleasure of dealing with house fires, garbage fires, dealing with litter, and then you got, you know, a couple smart guys that go out there and boom, 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 and they fire a gun into the air. We had that last year, quite a few times. The bullets do come down. We had a young boy, unfortunately, tragically pass away a few years ago named Noah Inman. I believe he was 13, playing basketball in his driveway. And some idiot fired a gun in the air, and the bullet came out of the sky and killed him. So obviously I'm sensitive to that issue as well. But we'll deal with it because somebody's going to do it, because it's the 4th of July, anything goes. I sympathize with you, Carl. I do. I hate it. But it's so widespread. It's like if you have a street and the speed limit's 25 and every single person that drives on that street is driving 80, what are you going to do, right? It's like the state says, how about this? The speed limit we set locally is 25, but the state says you could drive 80 on it. Right? What are you going to do? Hi, sir.
These are bombs.
Yes, sir.
These are actual bombs.
Yes, sir.
If put together, they could do a great deal of damage.
Agree.
And they are readily available all year long.
Yes, sir.
So, with all this concern about guns and violence and everything else, and of course the availability of these weapons, I'm going to call them mass destruction, because these bombs are the source of a great deal of gunpowder, raw gunpowder, and you can do crazy things with these kind of weapons in the wrong hands. So, you know, I don't think we can be too concerned about this. You know, this is a great big issue.
I agree, sir.
That really is going to foster some horrifying kind of results somewhere in the future.
The debate we're having right now is about 10 minutes longer than any debate I've ever heard anybody in the State House on this issue. They just don't talk about it. They leave it to people like me to have to take the complaints when they make it legal. It'd be like if you're in Illinois and I was a mayor and nobody wanted you to sell marijuana in Illinois, and they're saying, you need to stop that, and you're like, the state made it legal. What are you supposed to do to stop it? The state of Indiana made this legal, and they left nothing on the table for the locals. Not, you know, I would like to say, for instance, if we sold every firework in the city and I got to put 3% on each sale for a local sales tax earmarked to the Hammond Fire Department, that would be wonderful. We'd have Illinois residents coming in, giving us 3% tax to help pay for our fire department. Something like that, nothing. There's no benefit for the city of Hammond in this at all, sir. And I agree with you. And I agree with Carl. And I used to shoot these off. And I don't anymore. And I feel strongly about why I don't, because they shouldn't be legal. So thank you. Any other? Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
Hello.
Hi.
I was just asking a question about these fireworks. We keep talking about the fireworks.
Could you speak up a little bit, ma'am? I'm having trouble.
We understand that we have a lot of violence going on with the guns and stuff. There's no way possible that they can have a curfew on the fireworks, period.
Sure. I'm going to have corporate counsel go ahead and talk about what is legal and what is not legal with fireworks.
I don't have my list with me, but maybe the chief does. Thank you. The chief has the list. There are some certain dates and times, which I'm sure the chief will
why don't we let the
go
chief
ahead and
go
read
first?
it off. And this
Yep.
is by state statute, by the way. This is not local ordinance. This is by your wonderful legislature down in Indianapolis who has determined these are the dates and times, along with the fireworks lobby that hold a lot of sway down in Indianapolis.
So I printed some out, they're on the table as you leave tonight. So the hours of fireworks are between the hours of 5 p.m. and 2 hours after sunset on June 29th, June 30th, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and the 9th. On the 4th, it's from 10 a.m. till midnight. And then there's 2 other days throughout the year, December 31st and January 1st, that they're legal. Any other time but those days, they're illegal, and those hours. But, you know, like the mayor and Calvin said, by the time the police department shows up, the people are gone. So,
I'm going to try to take a negative into a positive here. We did something last year during the pandemic that I thought was interesting, and we expanded upon it this year. The idea last year was because we couldn't get together in large groups, we were still limited capacity-wise, we wanted to launch fireworks, city fireworks displays from different neighborhoods around the city simultaneously. So presumably, you could sit in your backyard and watch a fireworks show. Well, we expanded upon that concept this year and put the Port Authority in charge of it. Mylon was very happy when that came down, and he's done a wonderful job on a citywide basis. But Mylon's the director of the Hammond Port Authority. Can you talk a little bit about our coordinated fireworks show, Mylon?
Yes. The fireworks show is going to start in the six districts that we have, and it'll be starting at 9:30 p.m. And this is where you're going to be able to view them, not where they're going to go off, but where you're going to a good place to view them if you're not being able to view them from your backyard. In the first district, the Pavilion Wolf Lake parking lots. Second district, Turner Park and Columbia Park. Third district, Martin Luther King Park. Fourth district, Edison Park. Fifth district, Fromer Park and Hessville Park. And the sixth district, Purdue Northwest has given us permission to use 173rd Street lot, north side. So those are the locations to view. We're not going to give out the locations where they're going to be launched, but
that's top secret.
Yeah.
Because we don't want people going to the launch location because it's dangerous. So we really tried to space this out so that you could see it from your neighborhood. If you can't, we tried. I'm sorry. But anyway, that goes off at 9:30 on the 4th of July. And Chris, could you grab a microphone? Director of IT doesn't give very many opportunities to speak at Mayor's Night Out. How you doing, Chris? I take every chance I can to embarrass him.
Hello.
Hey, is Go Hammond going to do anything special on that day? You're like, nope. Okay.
John's over there shaking his head no. I believe we are streaming something.
Sounds like it's going to be a great event. You want to definitely watch Go Hammond. I mean, they sold this so well. I know you're super excited about it, but
well, we want to keep
the idea was we were
it.
going to do music that you could like tune into if you wanted to, but I guess anybody could do that. We all have Spotify and stuff like that, so we'll figure it out. But the fireworks are going off at 9:30. Looking forward to that. So, all right, can we move on past the fireworks issue, or you got another question on this?
Oh, I'm in a senior building, and we have the fire places right around our corners. So why is it that, you know, it could be 12 o'clock, 7 o'clock, all day long? And I'm in Golden Manor.
You what?
Golden Manor.
Okay.
And we have the fireworks place right there on the corners where we live and everything. We are seniors too, so why can't we have a little, you know,
Buffer?
curfew? Yeah, because I mean, we don't need to hear all that.
Listen, fireworks, thank you, ma'am. They're like a cancer. It's like a plague. And they like, if it's available zoning, there's nothing we can do to stop them. We're in a fight with a couple fireworks stores as we speak because they want to be everywhere. We don't want them. I'd rather have a Subway, or I'd rather have a Chipotle or a Starbucks. And then a fireworks store says, hey, it's zoned right and we want to open here. If we try to block them, we could be sued. So I think I made it pretty clear about how I feel about this issue, and we're sort of powerless to stop it. We are, unless we want to devote the resources of our Hammond police officers constantly chasing people with fireworks, which I think our resources could be used better, personally. This is something the state sort of tied our hands on, and it's frustrating to say that to you. It's like trains. It's a lot like trains. Nothing we could do. Congress has to do that one. I could make you feel good. We could write a ticket, and they'll throw the ticket in the garbage, but trains and fireworks, people up above us on the food chain really tied our hands, and there's not much left for us to do. It's unfortunate. And we're affected particularly hard in Hammond because we're on the border. So anyway, let's go ahead and move past this issue if you guys don't mind. I think we did a good job on fireworks. How you doing, Donna?
Good, Mayor. Do you have any updates to fix up Harrison Park?
Good question. I know we try to, like, Hammond's a big city. I live in the 5th district. I'm very sensitive to my district as far as I don't want people to think I'm favoring my district because I'm the mayor of the whole city, okay? Sometimes I penalize my district because of that. I think you can talk to the councilman who's complained a couple times that I'm a little too sensitive about park projects. The 3rd district's a great district, all right? We just got done with a major park improvement in the 3rd district, which was Martin Luther King Park. That was a $5 million improvement, right? Thank you, I appreciate that. It's gorgeous, by the way. It's truly, I don't know if I've seen a better Dr. Martin Luther King Park in America. I'd love to see it. However, we have a big city, and I have to focus on the whole city, and Harrison Park is right down the street, and Harrison Park does need improvement, no doubt in my mind, but I have to also be sensitive to the fact if you talk to the 1st district councilman, he has a project in the 1st that he feels is a high priority. If you talk to the 6th district councilman, he has a project in the 6th that's a high priority. Obviously, Barry thinks that Harrison Park's a high priority. If you talk to Councilman Torres in the 2nd, he has park projects he wants to go also, and it's a balancing act, okay? And we're trying to do the best we can with limited resources, and we just got done with a big project in the 3rd. I'm not saying we're not doing Harrison Park, but we just got done with a big project in that district, and that's next for sure. And I've heard some great ideas. I know Councilman Barry's got some great ideas, and we're all ears right now. Jim, how you doing? Jim's the head of the Hammond Park Department. It's the one O-N. Can't miss it. Come on, IT. IT broke it.
IT broke it. Yeah, we're doing some small things in Harrison Park. We know we had some flooding issues there, so we've been working on the pond, doing some small things that we kind of have a plan. We've been working with Councilman Tyler that we've had a plan for the next couple of years to do some smaller projects in Harrison Park to get us to the point where we can maybe do something a little bit bigger. So we're working on some of the flooding issues we've had there. I don't know if Dean wanted to talk a little bit more about that, of what we've done.
Yeah, we also have plans to host community meetings so that the community can share ideas of what they will want to see done in Harrison Park.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. You good?
All right. So I think that's the next step that we'll probably try to conduct either later on this year or early next year once we figure out the flooding issue. You know, Harrison Park is a historical park, and we know that it connects to downtown Hammond as well. So we have a lot of positive developments that'll be going on in downtown. So we want to make sure that as people are connected to downtown Hammond, they also have a place to be outside and spend time with their families in Harrison Park. So it is like Mayor said, we just spent $5 million on MLK Park, and we still have another phase of that park to complete too. So once we get done with that, we'll continue with Harrison Park, but it's just going to take some time. But we are working on it, like Jim said, and we are going to incorporate a lot of community ideas into that park too. Thanks.
Great point, Barry. We do have another phase of MLK to do as well, so yeah, that's definitely that microphone. It went away when you turned it off. Okay. All right. So anyway, so, any follow-up on the MLK Park question? How you doing, sir? We got one over here, Sharon. How you doing, sir?
Hi. I wanted to follow up on the Harrison Park question. What I'm interested in is St. Margaret's is going to do what they're going to do, but the city should be at the table with them, and I understand that the city was caught unawares or whatever, but the situation of Harrison Park and investment in Harrison Park should be a concern of the city and a demand of the city that St. Margaret's contribute to the economic revitalization of the Harrison Park neighborhood, tie it into the park. We need some housing renovation, and you have a downtown plan too. I called your office, said, who do I talk to find out what's going on? They said, Ann Anderson, nice to meet you. I talked to you on the phone. She wasn't aware there was a Harrison Park Neighborhood Association. You got to get in that neighborhood and work with them and make sure that St. Margaret's is going to work with that neighborhood as well as your downtown plan, because if they're going to do what they're going to do downtown, let's make it work out the best for the city.
Thank you.
I'd like to hear what you're doing or what the vision is from the city on what's going to happen. Has anyone seen the footprint? Does anyone know what the $43 million is that they're talking about investing? Is that just tear down? I'd like to get some answers. Does anyone at the city have any answers? Has anyone seen the footprint?
No answers. We're working with them. But you make it sound like you said the city was caught unaware, which makes it sound like we omitted or we did something negligent. No, that's fine. So, I mean, the way you word it makes it sound like, we knew something was happening and we ignored it, which is not the case. All right, I let you talk. Could I talk? We had 1 hour notice before the hospital decided to shut down. 1 hour. And it's one of Hammond's largest employers, so yeah, we were stunned. We organized a rally, but since then we've had a couple conversations with the Franciscan leadership, CEO, and we're talking about what the future may bring. They made their decision though, sir. They did. Well, I know, I'm glad we agree on that. That's one thing that they made clear to me is this has happened, we're moving on. I can't hear you.
Do you tie Harrison Park development into your talks with St. Margaret's and when they're leaving our community, that they need to stay invested?
I'm not sure, but I'm open-minded, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. Yes, sir. How you doing?
Hi. Back onto the Harrison Park, one concern that I had that it's also a safety issue. This past Memorial Day, there was a lot of vehicles parked in the park, lined up. We called the police several times.
You said so they're on the grass in the park?
On the grass. I understand that they're allowed to pull up to unload and load stuff from their vehicle, but they were parked there the entire time. We walk around that area and the bike path, and we called the cops several times, and they came and nothing happened. The cars were still there, all lined up.
I appreciate it.
There's kids
How long
walking
ago
around
did this
there.
happen?
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And
It's not relaxed on Memorial Day. The city ordinance is not relaxed on Memorial Day. I apologize.
I was just mainly concerned because there's a lot of kids running around there, and there's vehicles pulling up and spinning
It's
around.
annoying to me. When I see cars on the front lawn or cars in parks like that, I always call the cops. Always. I apologize. We should have jumped on it better. And the head of community policing is in here, thankfully, Captain Calvin. Could we do something about that, Calvin, and make sure that our officers in patrol know that we got to? Thank you.
Because they responded, they showed up and everything.
But they should have taken care of the problem.
Right.
I appreciate it, sir. I apologize. I hate that also. I'll drive by and somebody will park their car on their lawn. It's automatic. Stop the car, call the cops, put in a 911. I mean, not a 911, a C-Click fix. I feel the same way about that. Parks, it's not an excuse. Thank you. All right.
Next up, Mayor, can you please discuss the results of the Kenwood traffic survey and future plans?
Nice, thanks. Kevin, you want to talk a little bit about that? Kevin sort of ran the survey for us. You got the results on you, hopefully?
Looking, I don't have them with
I'm
me.
sure Councilman Barry's going to want to come in on this also, but so right now, just to give you a heads up, before we do major traffic design changes, we like to query the neighborhood. So we determine like the area, who are we going to send postcards to? We sent one postcard to each resident in that area. The area in this case was Highland Street to the north, 165th to the south, State Line to the west, Holman Avenue to the east. Everybody in that box got a card sent to their residence. And it was simple, like 5 or 6 questions, and you fill it out, you send it in, and we take the results. And I always say, before we do this, if we're gonna make permanent changes to the neighborhood, it's gotta be overwhelming. What we're suggesting has gotta be overwhelmingly positive for the neighborhood. I had a situation in the 4th district where I thought we were right. I had a situation in the 1st district where I thought we were right also, but the neighbors didn't, and we bailed. So Councilman Barry and I talked about this idea. I told Barry my philosophy on life when we're doing this. We both agreed, if it's not overwhelming, we don't want to get into this. So we blocked off, let's see, Wildwood, Cleveland, Kenwood, Detroit, in the alleys. We've blocked all of them off to see if it would quiet down the neighborhood. I've had plenty of police chiefs, well actually I've only had 3 police chiefs, but my police chiefs have always told me when traffic goes away, crime stats drop. I saw that when we did the State Line curb south to 165th. When the traffic went away, the crime stats went to basically nothing in that neighborhood. Because when traffic dies away, the bad guys don't feel as safe. They're more out in the open. We sent out the surveys, and Kevin, could you go through the results, please?
Sure, Mayor. So there were approximately 15 surveys sent. It was one to each residence between 165th to the south, Highland Street, both sides to the north, the west side of Holman and to the east, and the east side of State Line. I don't think there are any homes on State Line in this area between 165th and Highland. If there were, they also received a survey. Of those, we received both online and mail-in surveys back. And the IT department, John Vesmar and Chris Campbell, took care of making sure those were tabulated. I know Sharon Daniels helped input a lot of those. We received over 65, 70% of the surveys, I think, back, which is great response rate. As you all probably know, in elections, if 70% of the people voted, that'd be an outstanding turnout. But
we don't even get that in presidential election years.
Not even. You're right, Mayor. And usually in a regular municipal election, we're lucky if we get 30%. So good response rate. The questions that were asked, I think the most important one is, would you like to see the streets permanently blocked from traffic at those intersections, as the mayor just listed? And it was 78% in favor of that occurring. The numbers were also very similar in the 70s for, do you believe that the closing of the streets will make the neighborhood safer and quieter? Those were also in the 70s. There were only really 15%, I believe, that were strongly against. And you're always going to have, right, a difference of opinion. I know the mayor always looks for at least 2/3 in these matters, and he and the councilman came in, they reviewed the survey, and I believe they announced at the council meeting that next day that the closures were going to take place, and they are taking place. And I don't believe there's been many complaints, Mayor, since that time.
I don't think we had any in City Hall yet. Councilman Barry, you want to weigh in on this?
The other thing I'll add is that so I lived in the Harrison Park neighborhood for a little over 3 years. My wife and I just moved, and from I think the first month we moved in over there, we were asked to close these streets off. So it's been in the works for about 3 years. We first had a community meeting in August of last year at Kenwood Elementary, where we talked to everybody who showed up there about their interest in closing it, and this process was part of the progress in that original plan. The other piece of feedback that I think we heard with the survey and then coming from residents, either from phone calls or emails, was that if we were going to close off Kenwood, Cleveland, and Detroit, we should also close off Wildwood. Because what we saw was an increase on traffic on Wildwood, which was currently a one-way street, but we saw traffic going in the opposite direction, the wrong direction on that street, as people were trying to figure out ways to get in and out of that neighborhood with the temporary street closures. So in this plan, we have decided to close off Wildwood in addition to the rest of those other streets to just make the community safer. And to be honest, I haven't gotten many responses since we released that decision. People have been thanking us for the decision, but in terms of negative responses, I haven't heard any. There was a question about why we were making Wildwood a two-way street after closing it off, but I mean, we have to so people can get in and get out. But outside of that, I mean, it seems like people are positive that this will change that community for the better. So excited to see once we are able to get the designs up and running what the designs will look like so that we can, complete this project.
Thanks, Councilman. One of the complaints I got a lot of was, you're just taking traffic and shoving it to Highland. Sort of have to agree with that. A lot of the traffic that we use the neighborhood to go through will go to Highland or 165th to go east and west. That's what Highland was built for. It's tough to say, but that's the fact. Because there's a street light on Holman and Highland, that street's called a collector. It's wider than Detroit. It's wider than Wildwood, and it's meant to accommodate larger flows of traffic. Detroit and Wildwood and Cleveland were not met for the traffic that they're getting. So we have to fix it. And the only way to do it the right way, per the neighborhood, and we agree through engineering in the city, is to have that traffic go to the bigger streets. Now, if you live on if you live on Highland, you probably hate that I just said that, but at least respect the fact I'm telling you the truth. That's what Highland was built for. Dean, it's called a collector, right?
Yes,
sir. Thanks.
I will, just to piggyback off what Mayor is sharing, we have seen, and of course, we have seen an increase in traffic on Highland Street, just like we see an increase in traffic on 165th in that area too. And not to just keep tossing everything to our mighty police department, but I'm going to be in contact with them so that we can get more patrol in that area, because I have had reports of cars being hit over the past couple of weeks with that increased traffic, and people are not abiding by the speed limit, which is everywhere in our city, sadly. So until people get comfortable with these street closures, we might have to have an increased police presence to monitor traffic in that area, but it is something that we are aware of, and we are working with the police department to take care of.
Any follow-ups on this? Hi, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Tyler, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for taking this concern seriously.
Thank you, sir.
I've lived on Wildwood for 20 years now, and I was there when it was changed from a two-way street to a one-way street because of safety issues and the fact that people are not observing the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. I am for the closure. However, I'd like to see some more signage, perhaps at Holman, indicating that there's no through traffic. Also, I'd like to see a
You're getting
stop.
a lot of cars from Holman go in, turn around, and go back.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing
That
now,
makes
and,
sense.
and
You hear that,
perhaps
Gary?
the learning curve.
Got that? Thank you.
The learning curve may
sir.
be responsible for that.
You're right,
'cause
sir.
people are used to going all the way through.
Yes, sir.
So that might.
We got the sign guys back there nodding his head. He's listening to you right now.
Yeah.
You're right. That makes sense.
Yes, and I'd also like to see a stop sign that would slow traffic down from Holman, let's say to Forest even.
Yes, sir.
So right now there's a traffic sign, or rather a stop sign at Moraine, on the Moraine side, but no regulation of traffic on Wildwood whatsoever. So I'd like to see another sign go up just to slow traffic down, and I'm happy with the results that we're getting so far.
And I want you to know, sir, that of course we have temporary blockages up right now. It's going to be engineered and designed. It's going to be nice once it's done. It'll be like some nice turnaround area. I know Dean's working with a lot of the homeowners in that, along state line to make sure that they're satisfied with what we're proposing, but that's the next step. But the temporary construction barriers right now stop the traffic. The pretty stuff comes next, okay? And I appreciate your recommendation about the stop sign. Thank you, sir. Okay. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, my concern is a little bit on 165th and Holman, where Kenwood School is. You're now going to be having a lot of traffic in that area because they can't get through anywhere else. And if you do the tracks, the train station close, everything's going to be coming through that 165th Street. I'm a little concerned of the safety for the young children in the wintertime trying to get to school. People are racing down that street to try and get to the to the train station, how do we protect them from, the danger?
Well, I appreciate that, first off. We did work real closely with Kenwood School on a plan on how it would look, dropping your kids off and the traffic flows and all that. We did do that. And your concerns about the the new rail line that'll be coming through and the speed on Holman Avenue. I had a meeting today on how much downtown Holman's going to change and how people that want to go fast aren't going to want to be on Holman Avenue because of things that we're going to do downtown that's going to bottleneck traffic a little bit more to try to slow it down and make a more walkable community downtown. So to say that if it's going to be down, think about right now between Munster and 165th, it's single lane on each direction, and then it opens up between 65th to the bridge, right? Downtown Hammond's going down the single lane. Bill? When? Like time-wise?
Oh, yeah.
Next spring?
Construction will start spring of next year.
Spring is next year. Construction starts on downtown Hillman, and then everything between 165th and downtown is just paint, right, Gary? We don't really have to do a lot of, like we did between Munster and 65th. So there's going to be a lot of changes coming to that part of the city. Obviously, we're concerned, as you are, about Kenwood School, and I promise you we're going to work closely with the school to make it flow the right way, okay?
I just hope for the kids' safety.
Of course.
'cause I see the large amount of traffic already there, and it's not even the school year. And,
Yes, sir.
People are going to be rushing because they're going to be late for the train, and, I don't know how to protect the kids when...
You getting this right, Dean? Thank you for your concern. I appreciate it. Hi.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I wanted to know more about this survey because the residents 800 block in which I live did not receive such survey about the traffic control. Was that just an issue in
800 block
certain
of what?
areas?
800 block of?
800 block of Merrill Street. I did not receive a survey. Was there
Yeah.
issue throughout
Right.
the city
No,
or
sir.
certain
No,
areas?
ma'am. That was not part of the area where we sent the survey to, though. It was not the target area. We wanted to know how the people in that particular neighborhood felt about that issue, because it was the traffic we were affecting in their neighborhood. 800 block of Merrill is not within the target area, which is why nobody received the survey. I apologize. But we literally focus on the area that's affected when we send out the surveys, so 800 block of Merrill is outside of that area. So, thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and move on.
Mayor, concern at the intersection of 173rd and Southeastern. Apparently, there was a road rage incident there recently,
Yep.
and the resident would like to know how do we control excessive speeding in that area and stop the littering and loud music in that area.
Great question. Now, what was going on at the boulevard, where I live, for a month or so was because 8094, the on-ramps are being worked on, and you could not get onto 8094 from the boulevard. So what would happen was people in my neighborhood, if you had to get on 8094, you either had to go to Kennedy or you went to Calumet. And now what's happening, because Calumet's experiencing the same shutdowns, is if you normally get on 8094 at Calumet, a lot of that traffic is being diverted over to the boulevard, and they're taking Southeastern to get there, which is putting stress on Southeastern that we're not used to. It's heavy traffic going down Southeastern. There was a road rage incident there. That's scary to all of us because we all use that street. My kids, my wife, myself, just like everybody in this room. That's scary. But the traffic that we're seeing on Southeastern is not permanent. Dean, could you back me up on this as far as what's going on and the timeline involved? This is City Engineer Dean Button.
Thank you, Mayor. It's clearly related to the construction that's going on that's in Hammond right now. As Mayor said, the eastbound ramps to Calumet Avenue and Indianapolis Boulevard have phased closures, and we expect those eastbound ramps at Calumet Avenue to reopen by the end of this month. But as for speed control in that area, really is an enforcement issue. It's a signalized intersection, and so that's really the route we would go on that.
It was a bad day for the police department not to be here, other than Calvin, but Normally I have the chiefs here and I have the captain patrol and everybody here, but obviously it's a tragic day for the Hammond Police Department, so I apologize that more of the officers aren't here. Hi, ma'am.
Yeah, they're always speeding up to almost 100 miles an hour in that area, and also they always run the stoplights and the stop signs. So and they've had about 2 or 3 accidents in the area too, and
Okay.
it's getting worse because we park our cars in the front of our houses, and now it's got so bad. When you open your car door, you're afraid that they're going to get so close where they hit and tear your door off your car. So it's getting worse. So
I know,
something needs to be
that's
done.
my neighborhood also. I appreciate your comments. I'm glad you came here and expressed that, and I appreciate hearing it. So, thank you.
Mayor, up next, we've got similar types of problems with speeding, dirt bikes, loud music, trash, barbecue selling, all in the 800 block of Merrill. Can you help us?
Forward that to code enforcement, okay? And then we'll follow it up individually with individual property matters. Let's just forward that whole thing to code enforcement and inspection, and we'll follow that up, so. Donna, ready?
We have several concerns from 3 residents that are in the Golden Manor apartment complex in regards to security, the door buzzer, carpet needs to be cleaned, many things in Golden Manor. Can you help with that too?
Thank you. I know many of the residents in Golden Manor are aware of this, but it's something that I want to repeat is this building is not run by the city of Hammond. It's an unacceptable condition. We are in a process of filing a lawsuit against the ownership so that we can get control of Golden Manor and make the changes that need to be made. Carmen Paniagua is the head of the Hammond Housing Authority. She's done a great job in that position. She's just as frustrated as the residents are. She is intimately involved in the lawsuit filed against them, and I'm going to ask her for an update on Golden Manor. Hi, Carmen.
Hi, Mayor. We're actually in the waiting process for it right now. Just as you said, we're in the middle of litigation on it. So it's a matter of, we filed an appeal. We were in court back in February. We filed the appeal. They get to respond on the appeal. Then we go back and file again. So now we're just waiting for the court to decide.
What's the legal position of the Hammond Housing Authority as it relates to Golden Manor? How are we related to that project?
The Housing Authority has a not-for-profit, Homestead Enterprise Housing, who is a sponsor / developer owner of Golden Manor Incorporated, who is the owner entity of the Golden Manor property.
And who runs Golden Manor property?
It is run by a third party, Herman and Kittle Properties at the time.
And how did they come into this process?
They have been in there from day one. They came in sort of the big, nice conglomerate that everything can get done. They offer the cornucopia of services. Hey, it's a one-stop shop and you get everything. So they got in from day one, and I've been personally fighting it for 9 years. And finally, we're in litigation, so hopefully trying to get it.
And even the property manager, that person doesn't work for you either. So even like if we have issues with the building and we go up to the property manager and say, hey, you have issues with this building, they could simply ignore us or tell us no, right?
Correct. And I've been requesting quotes to try to get the carpeting at least changed, because the building, it needs a lot of upgrading. It needs a lot of work. But some of the things that we can get done, and I actually just got a bid for a carpet replacement, but of course from an unlicensed contractor, so I couldn't go with that bid. So we're back to the drawing board on that.
Bob, are you in here? Where's Bob Bell? Dang, you're right in front of me. Look at that. Let's grab a microphone. Bob, have you been through Golden Manor? This is a building inspector, Bob Bell, building commissioner, excuse me.
Yes, I've been there numerous times.
I know that you were part of the whole process with the patio removals, right?
Correct.
This is a shoddy construction, shoddily run building, and I know it's frustrating for you in your position, right?
Yes, the deck situation was very dangerous. I actually had an engineer go there, and the engineer deemed it necessary to tear down the decks because they're unrepairable, actually. So as far as the interior, we didn't deal a lot with the interior, but the exterior had a lot of issues such as blocked venting, rot, can't remember, soffits falling, railings that were loose and coming out.
So I know you're very aware of what the situation is in there. I know, are you working with the litigation team, giving them advice and things?
I am not currently.
Right, okay.
So.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I live in the Golden Manor, and I've just been here for 3 years, okay? And I didn't know this was going on that long. But it's a guy been coming in the building as you come in the front door, but he can't get in the other, and he's been sleeping in there. And this is very dangerous. You all know everything is going on in the world now.
Yes, ma'am.
And no telling what this guy might do.
What is the security?
I don't know who the security is. You want to put me there? There's no security that I know of.
Do you call
None.
Well, I can tell you, if the Hammond Police Department was called for a trespasser, we have options if they're trespassing, but we're not in charge of that building. So
That's what I heard today, that you wasn't in charge of the building.
Right.
So I'd be glad when they do get it straight, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I know.
Because it's very dangerous.
I'm sorry, ma'am. And we're working on it. We have really good lawyers working on this case.
And like the balconies, they tore them down. I just want to ask one question.
Yes, ma'am.
They tore them down in the wintertime, and those guys, I feel very sorry for them. But why they couldn't put them up in the summertime? This is what I'm saying.
I would like to put them up, but we are working on a building we're not in charge of. So, like, if we were in charge of that building, I think we're obligated. I want to put them up. I know that there's others that may not feel the same way as I do, but I think it's very sad what's going on there right now. Which is why
Filthy, hasn't been cleaned in 10 years, they said. So with me being there 3 years, that's 13 years. The carpet is filthy.
Yes, ma'am.
The bathroom ran over on the first floor. Spots is all on there and everything.
So we're in this litigation right now, and the goal of the litigation is for us to get control of that building. And then when you make complaints to us, we could fix them because it's our building that we're in control of. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, I hope they hurry up and do it, though.
Well, you know what? It would help if the residents, it would also, when the time comes, help testify on our behalf and help show support for Hammond Housing getting back in control of that building.
Because, see, I go to church a lot, and it's dark county in that parking lot.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm just saying it to you and anybody in here. If anybody come up on me, it's going to be held to the captain because I'm going to protect myself.
Good for you.
And my name is Julia Watford, and they call me Juju.
Thank you, Julia. I appreciate you. I promise, Julia, I promise you we're working real hard on this, okay? It's a complicated issue, and we're trying to get to it. So, hi, ma'am.
Hello, Mayor. This is Lolita Peterson again.
What was that?
Lolita
Hi,
Peterson.
Lolita. Nice to see you.
Anyway, I already talked to Cameron. We've been talking several days and stuff like that, you know. But the thing of it is, now we don't have any security cameras, so we can see somebody coming to your door. And that just blanked out just the other day. And normally we would have that. We don't have the doorbells so we can buzz people in. And somebody buzzed, my pharmacist came, but he had to call me. I don't have time to be running downstairs, you know, because I can't see the camera. And I called the office downstairs, and they said they're supposed to upgrade it or whatever they're supposed to be doing with it. But just let us have, at least have our security with it. We already understand about the balcony. We have to live with that. But the thing of it is, we can't breathe. There's no air in the hallway. We understand what's going on, but give us a little something going on. We already shut in. We feel like we're in prison, and we're seniors. And I think that's a little harsh on us because we can't breathe, and you have to use your own air in order to cook, because if we don't, then the fire alarm goes off. Come on, just a little bit. Somebody can give us something going on here, regardless of litigation or whatever it is.
Well, we can't work on a building that we're not in charge of, ma'am. We can't just, like, go in and
Well,
start.
somebody has to help us out.
We're helping you.
How?
We're in the middle of a lawsuit that we filed so that we can get control of that building.
Okay, so how long we have to suffer like this?
You have to wait until the litigation's done.
Okay,
Or you could give the complaints to the right people.
Or
I can't
if
fix
y'all
it
can
right
give
now.
us a voucher, we can move.
Okay. I mean, you should talk to the management about that, ma'am. I'm trying to help you. We
No,
can't
the
do it.
managers, they don't know anything because we have to go through Carmen. I have no problem with what I'm saying. I don't have no problem staying there. But the thing of it is, there are a lot of people that's much older. They're in wheelchairs. They can't get around. And I understand what you're saying. I already know because I was a property manager because I already know about litigation and all that kind of stuff. I've been there for 15 years, and that's why I retired. But, you know, you can't tell me something I don't know. But I'm just trying to help the people here and make them, you know, feel a little bit comfortable.
I'm trying to help them too, ma'am.
Well, I don't see anything because, I mean, we can't get anything done anymore.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank you.
just a little something.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Mayor, we have completed the written questions.
Are you serious?
I am.
We pounded through them. All right. I'm sure we have a couple follow-up questions we could do. Does anybody have any questions live from the audience? Really? Oh, we got one. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Talked her into it.
Yeah.
Do they need a permit for Martin Luther King Park to use that park? Because sometimes they just be in there and you can tell they don't have a permit because the bathrooms are not open.
Good question. Hi, Jim. Jim, do we need permits when we want to go to MLK Park if we're planning to use the restroom and things like that?
Yes, if you're doing a picnic or anything along those lines, throwing an event, you would get a permit through the Civic Center for those parks, for MLK.
They be parked all on the grass, and I don't think they have a permit.
I didn't hear that.
I know, guys, it's really hard to hear you, and I understand you have a mask on, but if you could take the mask off when you're asking a question,
She
it's
said
hard
they're
to hear.
parking on the grass when they're having events there.
They're parking on the grass? Okay. I mean, that would be something I think we're calling the police on those things. We don't allow them to park on the grass. There would not be a permit for them to park on the grass, if that's what you're asking. So if they are doing that, that would just be something that we would need to know about, and we can call the police and have them come take care of that situation.
Okay. Thank you. Jaime, grab a microphone. I'm freelancing up here in front of you guys. Jaime, the big project going on in your department, which is Hammond Water, is the water tank project from hell that never ever is going to be completed. It looks as though it's getting closer. Can you give us an update on the water tank at
It's getting very
at 165th
closer.
and Columbia Avenue?
Very closer. So what we have now from the project manager there as well as the contractor, we're looking at about the end of July to beginning of August that it will be complete.
Nice. July?
End of July, beginning of August.
Nice. And it's going to have the College Bound logo on it? Like
It will
the
have
others?
2 College Bound logos. Yep.
Nice. So looking forward to that. Ann Herbert, you out there? It's going to be your water tank. I'm going to put your name on the very bottom of it. So she is, Ann Herbert's a wonderful lady that comes to a lot of Mayor's Night Out, and this was her cause du jour for a long time with me. And every time I look at that water tank, I think of Ann Herbert. So I'm going to inscribe her name at the bottom of the water tank when we open it up. So I wanted Phil to do a presentation real quick on Hessville, changes we're making to Kennedy Avenue in Hessville. Changes if you use Hessville to cook between East Chicago and Hammond to get south of Hammond. You may not love these plans, but it's going to be great for the businesses in Hessville. Phil, could you talk a little bit about some of the changes we're making?
Sure, Mayor. Some of you may not know, in my previous life, I was president of the Hessville Business Association. So I'm very interested in the success of downtown Hessville. Basically, the short version is what we learned from the planner that we brought in to look at downtown Hammond. We're stealing a lot of those ideas and also going to put them in downtown Hessville. So we're going to make Kennedy Avenue a lot more walkable, a lot more landscaping, pedestrian friendly. We want businesses that are going to be located there to have opportunities to be more successful, meaning we don't want cars driving 50 miles an hour right past all of them. So by the time this is done, it's going to start basically just north of Freddy's Steakhouse on Kennedy Avenue, and this is phase 1. It's going to go all the way to 169th Street, and you're going to see the lanes go down to 2 lanes. There are some areas where there'll be turning lanes as well, but the sidewalks are going to be a little bigger. There's going to be a lot more landscaping. There's going to be opportunities for restaurants to have some outdoor seating areas. It's going to be a lot more attractive and business and pedestrian friendly when it's all said and done. So we're really excited about that project.
Thank you, Phil. Ann Herbert is watching live on Go Hammond. She said thank you for inscribing her name at the bottom of the water tank. Jaime, can you please make sure Ann Herbert's name is inscribed at the bottom of the water tank? Could be a small one, but it's for symbolic reasons.
Can I touch on a Hessville topic for
Sure,
a second?
please.
So I think there's been some complaints about some work that we recently did to mark off part of 162nd place. I believe it was 162nd, right? 64th place, sorry. from no parking from the last block to Kennedy Avenue because we were getting complaints from residents about how hard it was to either get onto Kennedy Avenue from that street or get off of Kennedy Avenue to that street. And so we marked it with the yellow no parking paint to try to make it a bit safer for residents. I just had a conversation with the management from Lindy's Hardware, which is the hardware store right there on the corner. And I know the Board of Works is going to be upset with me, but I am going to bring it back to them to see if we can adjust that to allow for some parking, not directly at the corner, but a bit removed from the corner. Right now, it's pretty much like the entire block from the corner of Kennedy and 164th Place to the alley. So we will probably adjust that to allow for some parking because some of the larger trucks that are trying to buy stuff from Lindy's or go there to service items are having a hard time to figure out a place to park. And I know once the Kennedy Avenue street is redone, that project is redone, it's going to create more parking on Kennedy Avenue, so that will help as well. But it's a tough issue because we're trying to balance public safety with support of a small business. Of course, we don't want the small business to hurt because of this, but we also have a responsibility to protect our residents and control that traffic on and off 164th Place. So we will be adjusting. Sorry, this is the first time that the Board of Works and our street department is hearing that, but we will be adjusting that sometime soon.
Thank you, Councilman. I'd like to next introduce Sharon Daniels, who's in charge of the Hammond's College Bound program, with an important announcement for parents of children that are in the College Bound program. This is very important.
Deadline, July 2nd. Hard, fast deadline.
Do we have people that miss the deadline every year?
Every year.
How do we approach the people that miss this deadline every year?
You miss the deadline.
It's a deadline. It's a hard deadline. If you have a kid in the College Bound program, July 2nd. We have little signs hanging up around the city. We're doing everything we can to notify, but if you miss the deadline, you're out.
We had college-bound students this week calling everybody that hasn't turned in an application yet, so we are getting the word out.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce Donna Muta, who's Hammond Special Events Coordinator. This is our last Mayor's Night before the Festival of Lakes.
Yes, sir.
In fact, August, by the way, Mayor's Night Out in August is being rescheduled because of a conflict that came up on my calendar, and the mayor sort of has to be here during Mayor's Night Out, and it will not be possible on that day. So we're going to reschedule the August 11 Mayor's Night Out, and we'll be in touch with the changed date. But Donna, why don't you go ahead and talk about the Festival of the Lakes and give everybody a preview of what we got coming up in a couple weeks.
Okay, the number one question I always get is who's playing at the festival, Mayor. So let me run it down for you guys. You can always look it up on festivaloftheLakes.com and just click under event schedule. But Mayor has been gracious enough to add Tuesday night for us, and everyone out there who has been clamoring for country music, well, we have it for you. We will have Johnny James opening for Walker County, and Old Dominion is the star of the show that night. Thank you, Mayor. They've been very great to work with.
Awesome.
On Wednesday, we had to make some changes because our friends the OJs had a health problem and they had to cancel. So we are going to have our friend Twista open for Busta Rhymes and Nelly. So that's our Wednesday night. On Thursday, we have Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit is bringing their support act with them. They haven't informed us who that is going to be yet, so to be determined. And on Friday, we have Ario Speedwagon and region favorites, the Steepwater Band, are going to be opening for Ario Speedwagon. On Saturday night, we have brain freeze.
Serious? Sammy Hagar in the circle. Thank you.
This is like possibly my most favorite festival band of all time, you guys.
You didn't really forget it, did you?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's Sammy Hagar in the circle. They aren't bringing a support act, but the musicians in this act are very famous. We are going to have music royalty in the house Saturday night at the festival, so I hope you all can join us. And Sunday is our Latin night, where we are going to have Grupo Sisma, Grupo Vanguardia, and Los Tucanes de Tijuana playing for us. So that's going to be action-packed. The one thing I do want to mention to everyone here, Mayor had a great idea, and we added Saturday morning a gospel breakfast. So we have our interfaith community in Hammond performing choir. The Anthem Church is going to do some contemporary music, and we have the East Chicago Harbor Church helping us out with some Latin music as well. So starting at 7:30 for $5, you can come in, and we're having a huge breakfast, and we're going to listen to gospel music that day. Thank you, Mayor, for doing that for the community. I think that's going to be really fun.
Thank you. Don't forget, the Saturday before the fest, excuse me, we have the Roadie 5K, it's called. Excuse me. It's important for the employees because they all want to beat me because they get a free day off if they beat me. I have a number of employees that have suddenly taken up jogging, so I'm very proud of that. It's all based on age, too. If they're younger than me, they have to beat me by a healthy margin. I think that's only fair. We also have the golf outing on Friday. It's the Lost Marsh Golf Course, which is open and busy. On Saturday, we have Special Persons Day.
We have Special Persons Day.
And the Gospel Breakfast.
And Fishing Day.
And the Fishing Derby.
And then we also have a Splash Pad Day for the kids from 10 to 3 for free.
And Sunday's Polkamania.
Yes, at the marina.
That's at the Hammond Marina. Always a good time. We also have Sunday, the Hot Rod and Custom Car Show, which is a great time. Fireworks on Friday and Saturday night after the show. So the festival is pretty much the same as it's always been, just a great lineup and an extra day this year.
There was a change on Senior Day, Mayor. We moved that to Wednesday, and that is going to be in the Lost Marsh Clubhouse.
Awesome. So anyway, there you go. You got a pretty good wrap up in a couple hours for the city of Hammond. Do you have something before we close out, Councilman?
I have a couple events that I want to announce too. The first is actually coming up next week. So a lot of you, I think, know that I'm on the board of the First Tee of Lake County, which is located at Lost Marsh Golf Course. The mayor is doing a meet and greet with a couple cows that we are working with to do a cow patty bingo event later on this summer. So
I have a strange job, taking a picture with a cow.
It's one of our bigger fundraisers. We started it last year. We are selling tickets there. You can either get tickets for $100 or $20 tickets. And depending on the size of tickets that you purchase, you can get a larger portion of the proceeds at the end of the event. So last year, I think the winner walked away with over $1,000 from that event. So we're excited to host that again this year with 2 cows from Aaron's Farm located in LaPorte. The other thing is Hammond Day is back this year, Saturday, July 3rd at MLK Park. There will be a parade. I believe the parade is going to start at noon. And so just be on the lookout for more information about that event. And as always, we're working on our back to school event, back to school giveaway for the students within the school city in Hammond. The tentative date for that right now is August 15th. We're still working on the location. It'll either be at MLK Park or maybe Harrison Park. So just be on the lookout for that. We are accepting donations, monetary donations, but also items to give to those students, folders, book bags, pens, pencils, anything that you can spare. We know that kids are excited about being back in the building this fall, so excited to do that giveaway. We'll also have prizes, toys, bikes, things like that. So be on the lookout for more information about that event too. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce Marty Wilgus, who runs Hammond Sanitary District. He's also a part of the planning for Live in the Ville, which takes place this weekend. Marty?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to announce that the sanitary district would be more than happy to help you with some of those cow pies if you need a little more material.
Thank you, Marty. I appreciate that.
Well, Jack and I will personally put those together for you.
I'm sure you will. Yeah.
Live in the Ville starts this Friday at 5 o'clock. It's Friday and Saturday. It goes all the way down to midnight, 10 o'clock. So we look forward to invite everybody out. We have live bands, we have food vendors, and it's a lot of fun. It starts off with a dog walk right at 5 o'clock.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to Mayor's Night Out. Next Mayor's Night Out appears like it's going to be in October. So I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Enjoy your summer. Stay safe, everybody. And I will see you at the next Mayor's Night Out or next community event. Thank you all. Enjoy your night.